Hello, good day everyone. We now proceed to the part 2 of the sampling methods. So we now have the second type of the sampling method, which is the non-probability sampling methods. Non-probability sampling involves non-random selection based on convenience or other criteria, allowing you to easily collect data. So, pag sinabing non-probability sampling, nandun yung word na non-random selection. Diba? Unlike in probability sampling, random, diba? Merong random doon na merong chance talaga. Individuals are selected based on non-random criteria, and not every individual has a chance of being included. So if you will remember, in probability sampling, the individuals have a chance of being included. So every individual has a chance. Pero dito sa non-probability sampling, not every individual has a chance of being included. And the selection is based on non-random criteria. In a non-probability sample, it is easier and cheaper to access the sample, but it has a higher risk of sampling bias. That means the inferences you can make about the population are weaker, mas mahina than with probability samples, and your conclusions may be more limited. If you use a non-probability sample, you should still aim to make it as representative of the population as possible. In addition to that, non-probability sampling methods are often used in exploratory and qualitative research. Diba? If you will remember, so sinabi ko doon sa first lesson natin, na yung probability sampling methods naman, sila ay ginagamit mostly in quantitative research. Now this time, this non-probability sampling ay ginagamit naman in qualitative and exploratory research. In these types of research, the aim is not to test a hypothesis about a broad population, but to develop an initial understanding of a small or under-researched population. Alright, we now proceed to the types of non-probability sampling. So first we have convenience sampling. A convenience sample simply includes the individuals who happen to be most accessible to the researcher. So pag sinabing most accessible, ito yung malapit sa researcher. Ito yung madaling lapitan ni researcher. This is an easy and inexpensive way to gather initial data, but there is no way to tell if the sample is representative of the population, so it can't produce generalizable results. So what does this mean? Diba nga, malapit nga yung samples sa researcher o yung individuals, kaya tinawag na convenience kasi madaling gamitin, madaling gawin itong convenience sampling, but hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na yung sample na napili natin ay representative sila ng population. So dito, hindi tayo makakaproduce ng general results. Kasi nga hindi porket sila yung sample, yung mga kinausap natin na individuals, hindi porket na sila yung kinausap natin individuals, ay sila rin yung magiging representative ng population. So kaya lang, madali siyang gawin, convenience, kasi nga, madali kang kumausap ng mga individuals that will be part of your sample. So let us have this example of a convenience sampling. You are researching opinions about student support services in your university. So after each of your classes, you ask your fellow students to complete a survey on the topic. So siguro yung survey na yon, meron kang questionnaire na pasasagutan sa mga classmates. This is a convenient way to gather data, but as you only surveyed students taking the same classes as you at the same level, dahil nga kaklase niyo sila, the sample is not representative of all the students at your university. So yung sagot ng mga sample na yon, dahil kaklase mo sila, belonging to same class as yours, at the same level din, so hindi yung sagot nila ay hindi yun ang kanilang, kumbaga, hindi rin yun yung pinakasagot ng lahat ng students sa university. So, hindi pwedeng sabihin na yung kanilang sagot ay representative ng lahat ng students sa university. Kasi nga, syempre, iba yung level ninyo na magkakapareho kayo. Iba sa level na iba pang mga students sa university. Okay, kaya naging convenience kasi nga kaklase, madaling lapitan, madaling magbigay ng survey or questionnaire sa kaklase. Kaya yung tinatawag na most accessible to the researcher. That is convenience sampling. We now proceed to the second type of non-probability sampling method, which is the judgmental or purposive sampling. This involves the researcher using their expertise to select a sample that is most useful to the purposes of the research. So, ibig sabihin yung talagang kailangan at makakatulong na sample dun sa purpose ng research. It is often used in qualitative research, where the researcher wants to gain detailed knowledge about a specific phenomenon rather than make statistical inferences, or where the population is very small and specific. So, anong dapat tandaan sa judgmental or purposive sampling? The sample must be or must jive with the purpose. So, yung mga pipiliin na individuals para maging part ng sample ay dapat sila yung talagang expert doon sa topic based on your purpose of your research. Let's have this example. You want to know more about the opinions and experiences of disabled students at your university. So you purposefully select a number of students with different support needs in order to gather a varied range of data on their experiences with student services. So ang purpose nito ay to gather opinions and experiences of disabled students. So ang kinuhang sample ay syempre yung mga students with different support needs. So kasi sila yung nakaka-experience. If you have watched yung sa Bawal Judgmental, 'di ba, sa Itbulaga. So, yung mga yung mga persons doon, yung sila mismo yung nag-share na experience sila. If you will notice, pare-parehas naman yung kanilang category. So, for example, yung napanood ko na lahat sila ay may mga 10 anak. So, ibig sabihin, ang purpose nun ay makuha yung experiences and opinions nung mga nanay na may 10 anak. So, yun yung purpose. So, syempre, ang tatanungin mo ay mga nanay na may 10 anak. So, pare-parehas naman yung kanilang category based on the purpose. So, yun sinasabing judgmental or purposive sampling. So, kung sino yung ano yung experience na kailangan mong mag-gather, so, syempre, ang kukunin mong sample or individuals ay yung mga taong nakaka-experience ng ganong purpose. Yung ganong criteria na hinahanap mo para masagot yung pinaka-purpose ng iyong research. So, that is judgmental or purposive sampling. Next, we have the snowball sampling. If the population is hard to access, snowball sampling can be used to recruit participants via other participants. The number of people you have access to snowballs as you get in contact with more people, or the number of people you have access to snowballs as you get in contact with more people. Ito sa snowball sampling naman ay kumukuha ka ng, kung for example, yung population mo is hard to access. Mahirap ka kumuha ng mga individuals para sa iyong as part of the sample. So, ang gagawin mo, magre-recruit ka ng mga participants via other participants din. So, based from yung mga nakuha mong sample or participants, sila naman din ay magre-recruit din ng other participants. So, yun sinatawag na snowball sampling. So, based from your contact people, kukuha sila ng kanila ring contact people. So, via other participants. Yun yun. So, nagre-recruit. Okay, so para dumami yung sample. So, let's have this example of snowball sampling. You are researching experiences of homelessness in your city. So, homelessness means yung mga walang tirahan. So, experience ng mga taong walang tirahan. Since there is no list of all homeless people in the city, probability sampling isn't possible. Dahil wala naman ng listahan, so hindi pwedeng mag-probability sampling. You meet one person who agrees to participate in the research, and she puts you in contact with other homeless people that she knows in the area. Yun yung snowball sampling. So, since hindi mo kabisado, hindi mo alam yung mga taong homeless, so, nakamit ka na isang tao na may kakilala namang homeless people sa area or sa city. So, nagkaroon ka na ngayon ng connection. Nagkakaroon ka na ngayon ng sample kasi yung contact mo, yung participants mo, ay may mga kilala na mga individuals na pasok doon sa kinakailangan mong mga individuals. So, yun sinasabing snowball sampling. So, hindi mismong ikaw yung direktang maghahanap ng sample, kundi doon sa kakilala mo, yung contact mo, sila yung may mga kakilala na kailangan mo doon sa iyong sampling. That is snowball sampling. And now we have the last type, which is the quota sampling. The selection of members in this sampling technique happens based on a preset standard. In this case, as a sample is formed based on specific attributes, the created sample will have the same qualities found in the total population. It is a rapid method of collecting samples. So, madali itong gawin in collecting samples. And, I will repeat, the created sample will have the same qualities found in the total population. Let's have this example of quota sampling. A researcher wants to find out the smartphone that most individuals prefer to buy and use. This researcher wants to survey 10 countries in Africa. To carry out this research, the researcher considers a sample size of 5,000 participants. So I'm sure you are familiar with the word quota. So ibig sabihin may specific number na target. So yung sinasabing quota sampling. So magsiset ka ng isang number of participants or sample na kailangan mo dun sa iyong research. Okay, so that is quota sampling. So what are the uses of non-probability sampling? First, create a hypothesis. Researchers use the non-probability sampling method to create an assumption when limited to no prior information is available. This method helps with the immediate return of data and builds a base for further research. So yun ang kagandahan din ng non-probability sampling. So wala ka pang information prior to that. So this will help you create an assumption or hypothesis that will build a base for your further research. It is exploratory research. So researchers use this sampling technique widely when conducting qualitative research, pilot studies, or exploratory research. So dyan ginagamit ang non-probability sampling. And lastly, budget and time constraints. Since the survey design is not rigid, it is easier to pick respondents at random and have them take the survey or questionnaire. So, madali lang kumuha ng mga samples. Kasi nga, yun naman ay wala siyang, di ba, sinabi ko kanina yung selection is non-random. Based on non-random criteria. Okay. So, yung sinasabing budget and time constraints. So, easier to pick respondents at random. And then, magbibigay ka lang ng survey or questionnaire. Then, you will be able to get the data that you need for your research. So, that's it for the non-probability sampling methods. I hope you learned something from our lesson. And for our parting words, let me share this beautiful quotation. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for better than yesterday. O, diba? Ang ganda nga. So, we don't have to aim for perfection, but we have to aim for better than yesterday. Or, if we can aim for wow than yesterday, then that's it. Alright, so that's all, and thank you. Stay safe and God bless everyone. If you have any question regarding our lesson for today, feel free to send me a message, or you may post your question or concern on our group chat or group messenger so that other classmates of yours will be able to see your questions. That might be the same question, or your questions might be the same question as they have in mind. So at least yung question nyo, question din na iba, so the answers can be posted there and everybody will be able to see the answers. Alright? Alright, so to God be the glory. Bye-bye.